Well, we just started. You intro.
I can't hear you. Hang on.
We're having some technical difficulties.
I heard you for a second there. I thought.
Can you hear me right now? Check. Hello? Check.
Look in the back end. Oh, hang on.
Check.
Yeah, I got you. We're good.
All right, cool. It wasn't me. I was just like, I was about to go start freaking with my settings, start going in and out of the stream. So you guys can see Pro 26ers, Hots, Heads, Dreamers out here. You guys can see what goes into our technical setup. We spend hours and hours, lots of time behind the scenes, making sure that we're all good right before the pod. So listen, this is what goes into it. This is what it is to do a podcast nowadays. You kids at home, you want to do this shit? You better get yourself locked in. That's all I can say.
Yeah, well, welcome Sixers, Dreamers, Hots, Heads, all 11 of you. We're ready to rip. We're ready to roll. Bringing it to the streets. There's a lot going on. Anything you want to lead off with? There's obviously a bunch of stories going on right now.
Bro, let's just get right into it. Let's just fucking torpedo right into this let's just get right into this episode, bro. Boom. Let's just fire away. But no, the Final Four this weekend. That game yesterday, the Duke-Houston game, is obviously what everyone's talking about. Crazy swing of events. Wild to see. A lot of people are talking about the call. The over-the-back call on Cooper Flag, whatever. But what you guys need to understand is that they were up 16 points in that game. And, they had it in their hands. And shouts to Kelvin Thompson, excuse me.
Kelvin Sampson.
Excuse me. Sampson, yeah. Excuse me. Who's a dog and clearly brings the most out of his players. You can tell the way his energy is. Very old school. So congrats to Houston, man. That's fucking unbelievable for them. And that guy Cryer played his ass off, I thought. I'm pretty sure their main prospect is Broom, right, John?
Johnny Broom plays for Auburn.
Oh,
that's who you're thinking of.
I think I'm confusing those two then. So I guess I was thinking about both of them, I guess. But I don't know why I thought Johnny Broom plays for Houston. But anyway, I know that Cryer is the one that plays for Houston that played well yesterday, correct? Is that right?
Yeah, Cryer's can shoot, can dunk, do everything. They're really just... Yeah. It's almost like a team you don't have to shout out individual players. Like, I think you already shouted out Kelvin Sampson, who's probably like the biggest, most important person to that organization to shout out. Got them playing hard. We talked about it with St. John's earlier in the tournament where they play until the very last whistle. Houston's very similar and just a bit more talented, and a bit more driven and a bit more camaraderie driven, if you will. I couldn't think of a word for camaraderized or something like that, but just plays with more camaraderie. Yeah, good culture. Yeah, for sure. I'm very impressed with Houston. I, like many, had Duke, as the favorite. I put in a future back in January on Duke at plus 450, so that fell. But I mean, it was a matter of, I think as great as Houston played, and you can't count out what they did, but I think it was a choke job by Duke. Maybe John Shire showing his youth as a coach, and obviously, the three freshmen for Duke playing, big time minutes and not being in a lot of close games throughout the season. Came back to bite them. And in the tournament, I think they were averaging 20 points. They were beating guys by most of those rounds. Yeah, I mean, Alabama, the last round, a dominant win. Proctor missed the front end of the 1-and-1 late. That was huge. And Houston made their free throws, and Houston did the little things, and they've rebounded the misses when they needed to. So, obviously, just a great basketball team. And on the other side, we had Florida advance. What'd you think about their game? Yeah. That kid Clayton has some Dame Lillard into his wiggle, the way he steps back and hits those threes, and he's really unbelievable. He's very special. I forget the name of the guy, the white boy who was very running gun. He kind of is like a Swiss Army knife the way he plays. I know who you're talking about, the blonde dude. Not Condon. Condon's a good player too, different player, more of an inside guy. He's number 21. Condon. The other guy I like a lot. Activity on defense kind of reminds me of a Karolinko style player. He's just long, everything's at the rim, always contesting shots, just always around the ball. I think his name's Haw, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Haw. That's it. Yeah, that's correct. Nice, John. That's exactly what I'm talking about. He seems to be a nucleus for that team, the way their motor, for lack of a better word. And that guy, obviously, Clayton, is just
you know.
Yeah, I think Clayton is designed for today's pro game where he can shoot, he could, take off the dribble, find his own basket. Obviously, comes up big in big time moments. He's not afraid. He's not shying away from it. Interestingly, he was like a 0-star recruit for basketball coming out of high school and like a 4-star football recruit. And
I chose to. When the broadcast was talking about it for like a half a minute, I heard them say that or whatever.
Yeah, he chose to play basketball, go to play for Rick Pitino at Iona, and bet on himself. Like that's what he wanted to do. And clearly, in a world where 6'3" is small to be a pro, even at a point guard position, but obviously you can make it work. We've seen Steph, for example, if you can shoot and you can move and you could score and you could pass. Sure. I think there's a lot to Clayton's game. I think he could be a guy who maybe isn't expected to be a super pro. Obviously not a one and done, not immediate prospect. Like I said, a very lowly recruited guy out of high school who has a chance to be a real pro because of his skill set matching with today's NBA and maybe today's general managers and scouts being willing to, take a shot.
The game is, like you can that step back, that extra travel step back that you're allowed to do nowadays after you kind of give up your dribble, that extra thing that the spacing in the games now feeds to maybe smaller players like him being able to still create space, even with all the extra athleticism on defense. So big fan of his game. He's unbelievable. I also just think that he's tough. He'll go to the rim, he falls down and will keep coming after you. So he's not just some sugar coated, just hanging around the three, like Klay Thompson type of guy, and rarely goes to the rim. He has a lot of activity in the paint too, which is I think a big part of his game and gets himself going too. So they have a cool team. Florida was my team since the door. I think we spoke about that I thought this team was ready to go, and I've been on them for a while now, and it's all to do with this guy Clayton, who seems to have that wiggle, that it factor, whatever you want to call it. But and that guy Hall, who I really like a lot. I don't really know his name all the time, but every time I watch them play, this guy jumps off the screen in terms of just being important for whatever's going on. And
there were some crazy dunks by Martin in that game. A couple of times I thought he took off too early, and it was almost from the free throw line, and he got there and jammed it. Those were major momentum shifters. And they've been the hottest team. I mean, they dominated the SEC tournament coming in. They came in. I had Florida versus Duke in the national championship game, Duke winning. But, I think a lot of people were on Florida, not doubting them at all. And they, of the SEC warpath that we talked about all season, they, came away at the end as the final last team standing of the SEC.
Battle tested.
And if they're the best team in the best conference, it makes sense that they should be where they are.
And that other guy, Richard, too. They have that shooting guard, small forward. He'll be a pro. He might be one of their best players. I think he gets announced when they do introductions. He's the last guy that comes out. It's crazy. This team's fucking loaded, dude.
Yeah, they're stacked, and they're very big, too, which I thought Houston might have a problem with Duke, the size. And, they handled it. They made up. They were down. They came back. They made up for it with toughness and, running them, gunning them, get to their tired at the end of the game, never giving up. But, Duke, again, they were up 9 with 2 minutes left. They were up 6 with 30 seconds left, and they lost that game. So if, Florida can utilize his size and hit its free throws and close the game with, some more experienced players, like Clayton, for example, they have a shot to, I think they got a good shot. I think a lot of the public's going to ride Houston after beating Duke, and I think the value might be on Florida in the national championship game.
I kind of agree.
And just one thing to point out, in the Elite Eight, they had Michael Clayton. Like you said, he did drive. He got to the basket, one of the most important plays, and he dribbled it all the way back out to the three-point line. And hit the three. I don't know if you remember it, and just drilled a three. Yeah. And, as people from fucking the UK would say, that was positively scrumptious. That was fucking incredible. Just
fucking unbelievable. It reminded me of the Steph kind of against the Clippers, where he did all those trickies and then just chucked it. Bro, that three was against what you're supposed to be doing in basketball. And that's guys like him break the game, and then they make these other guys feel emboldened to be able to take these attempts, and this is what fucks up the game, for the record.
Yeah, but hopefully, but like we said, it is fucks up the game. What is the game right now is that, and that's why I think Clayton has a future, despite maybe a little bit of a lack of size.
Yeah, it's worth it. All the 1,000 players that tried and we don't watch versus the finding the Claytons in the needle in the haystack, whatever, so we can watch that on national television.
Yeah. And then shout out to Duke, good season. A lot, like we said, 3 young guys in the starting lineup, and
18-year-old, 19-year-olds are going against 6-year seniors. There's no way.
Cooper Flagg put on a show, and then at the end, he was tired. His didn't have legs on that last jump shot. It was short, and that's what was the difference.
Should have went to the rim. The refs didn't call that shit. You got to go to the rim.
Well, credit to Houston playing good defense. I think he got turned away. Again, he's tired. He took what he had. It wasn't a bad shot. It was a quality look. He just couldn't knock it down. Yeah. Just didn't have the legs at the end of the game. And that
defender had his hand there too.
Shire's still a young coach. Maybe he'll learn to manage minutes better. Like you said, when they had that 16-point lead, that 13-point lead, maybe get your guys a quick breather, find time to rejuvenate. But then you don't want to let them go on a run. It's not necessarily a critique of Shire. I think he had a good season coaching. It's just maybe he still has room to grow to get even better kind of thing, as opposed to he sucks. It's
also that he was set up to fail. It's almost like someone all the games they were blowing people out, and then the one game that they really didn't blow anybody out, or they're blowing a team out also actually, and then he thinks he can kind of lean back and do his normal coaching shtick and whatever, everything's all good, and then you start going down, that snowball starts falling, and then what?
Who knows? Shout out to Ghost Energy Drink. Fucking, it's almost 8:00 on the East Coast. Your boys winded down. We're up at 6 over here. But now we'll keep it moving. What else you got going?
Just the Yankees. I was thinking about. I watched them today blow that game. It really sucked. Hate this team so much already. They're so runs reliant, and if they don't score 6 to 7 runs a game, they're painful. Mets won today, saw that. Really resilient win there. Good win for them. They were resilient yesterday too. I'm pretty sure they were losing yesterday. The team has balls, which is good to see early for the Mets side. I'm sure you're happy about that.
It was a good game today. Peterson pitched well again. The Mets are in a good spot, 6-3. Just beat a good, Blue Jays team twice in a row.
Like you said, Yankees for all you assholes out there.
Twice in a row against a good Blue Jays team, like I was saying. And like you said, last night we're down 2, scored a 2 on a triple by Winker, went to, extra innings and won an extra innings on a Lindor sac fly. So it doesn't get much better than that. I'm excited. I'm taking my nephew on May 1st to his first baseball game, so that'll be fun. But back into the Yankees. They're hitting a ton, but their pitching always was going to be the issue this year after Cole went down and then after Luis Gil went down. And I think it's starting to rear its ugly head that coming into
Will Warren.
Coming into today, they were scoring 9 runs a game, and now they're still, sitting there with looking up at the Dodgers, if you will. You should be, if you're scoring 9 runs a game, you should be in that 8-1, 9-1, 6, 7-2 category,
Yeah.
It feels like, at least to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, and Devin Williams again, just having issues. This is just not fun at this point, and that feels like an overpay for that guy. And just, I don't know. I'm not optimistic right now. And when Cole, as soon as I saw the Cole news, I was like, here we go. It's always one thing after another with this team.
That being said, they are 6-3. That's good start to a season. That's nothing to seize at, and they played hard today. So. They fought back from a 3-run deficit to tie it in the 9th, and give it they're going to be just fine. I was thinking that the Red Sox to win the division might be a smart bet, but I do think that they're just going to hit so much that lineup is going to produce.
There's just no way we're going to win 95 games just by scoring more.
Yeah, but Aaron Judge is still a monster. Jazz is a monster. Volpe's breaking out. They will slump, and they're going to have the ups and downs, and then they're going to have runs. I think they'll be fine. I do think the Red Sox aren't playing their best baseball and have still been pretty good so far. Devers hit
fucking 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, Devers really started slow, but then the last couple of games heating up, hit a home run today in the first game of the doubleheader they're playing right now. So obviously there's a lot of season left. The Blue Jays are still 5-4, I believe, after today. That's going to be Orioles, I wouldn't count out. It's going to be a tough division, but I still think the Yankees are the clear favorite, and they should be able to out-hit their opponents, like you're saying. I think we obviously have to talk about one of the greatest hockey players to ever play, Alexander Ovechkin today broke Wayne Gretzky's goal records. He tied it last night with 2 goals. And the cool thing is this is the exact amount of games that Wayne Gretzky played. So he broke his record in the exact same amount of games. So it's not one of those things where he played more games and longevitied him. And of course, shout out to Wayne Gretzky. One of the coolest stats is that if he never scored a goal, he'd still have the most points in hockey history. He has more assists than anyone else has goals and assists combined. So obviously still the GOAT by a mile. But that being said, the goal scoring GOAT crown has been passed, and that goes to Alexander Ovechkin.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that he's as good of a as good defensively as Gretzky is as a passer. But Ovechkin is a two-way player. He's not a pretty boy goal scorer.
He's third all-time in hits, for sure.
He's third all-time in hits. He smokes people, and he plays great defense. So he's a two-way player breaking this record. It's not just, a pure goal scorer who does nothing else. So it's extremely impressive. And he brought the Capitals a ring, championship, a Stanley Cup, I should say. This is hockey.
I was going to say also in terms of him not playing next to necessarily the best squad his whole career, but getting this goals record, he's not necessarily playing with all the best passers in the league. I don't ever remember the Capitals being like one of those teams maybe the Penguins were with Malkin and Sidney and maybe having a running mate. I don't know. You could tell me, but I don't know as much about hockey, obviously, but I don't ever remember someone being at that level playing with Ovechkin and him having a running mate at that level. Maybe it was when they won and the person that was playing with him then and whoever's on that team then, but something to think about in regards to just scoring all those goals and you obviously being keyed in on, everyone's looking for you, obviously when you're on the ice and things like that. And anytime you're near the crease or whatever, so I feel like that's even more impressive, from that perspective.
Yeah, for sure. No, I get what you're saying. I think there were some couple guys on those teams. I know Mike Green was a pretty good player, but definitely no one on the Malkin level. If you talk about playing with Crosby, on the Messier level, if you're saying playing with Gretzky, obviously these guys have had some amazing teammates, and I don't think there is that guy you could point to with Ovechkin. I'm sure there's some hockey heads out there screaming at the TV. TJ Oshie maybe.
Oshie,
a name out there.
Name. Yeah. I do remember that name.
But still, again, I don't think anyone on the Malkin or Messier level, or even if you start talking about Yager and Lemieux, they played together.
That's what it seems like. There's always a running mate whenever these teams take that step. That's why it feels like this guy is just a fucking weapon, absolute weapon. If LeBron had won it with Cleveland the first time around, almost type of feeling. He's the best player on that team, and
or a Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You got it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm just gonna talk about this real quick because
I'm gonna throw the hot corner music on so everyone can chill out.
All right, we'll get into it. Yeah, for sure. So, but no, I was thinking about this earlier because I saw an edit on Instagram and it was about that Dirk Nowitzki run and how he was sick in the first couple games and the Heat were mocking him, coughing him and shit, and then he came back and dominated and they won 4 games in a row, won the series, and that, I was thinking about as a hot corner question. I know you got questions tonight, but
take a question, steal a question. I got 2 quizzes and I got 5 questions, so take a question.
All right, was that or what is the greatest individual performance in a playoff run to a championship? Let's say in our recent memory. Let's say since the year 2000 to be, so we don't leave people out from when we were babies or not alive yet.
That's one option. The Kawhi in Toronto is another. Trying to think of options before I make this.
Yeah, no, that's a good. Kawhi is a great one.
Dwayne, when he won it the first time without LeBron and Shaq. Shaq was really not really all there in the playoffs.
I would say that just because of the level of competition that Dirk was playing, particularly in the finals and then in the conference finals, sweeping the Lakers.
And he also played OKC with the 3 studs, I believe.
Yeah. Maybe, but it might even be in the conference semifinals against the defending champion Lakers.
Yeah.
And they fucking mowed them down in 4 games.
Oh, yeah, they mollywopped them. That was dumb.
That was incredibly impressive. I remember watching that and being oh, they got a shot at the Heat. This is not a walk. But I just wanted to shout out Dirk and reiterate
that.
that.
Might be. I mean, I can't really think of anything. I'm drawing straws right now. I mean, because if you think of all the championships, most of these teams are dynasties, so it's really not led by one person. Those one-off championships are very rare in modern-day basketball, I would say, and just to see those. So I would see that Dirk, and then number 2 would maybe be the Kawhi. Like, those are very impressive. New roster, new everything. That's
Ravens Joe Flacco went on a crazy run, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. I still think Dirk's better, but I'm just thinking of like honorable mentions right now.
And even still, he's playing on the same team with the same scheme like 6 years in a row before they even win. Like, Dirk is like, that team had like they
were good. They had some 1 seeds. He had an MVP season. They were good. They were pushing for a while.
That roster was underrated. Sean Stevenson. There were pros on that team.
Yeah, they had good players, but they didn't have any other All-Stars, I don't think, that year.
Matrix should be a Hall of Famer, I'm pretty sure, right? Is he a Hall of Famer?
I don't know. I don't know if he's in. He's got a shot, but they were good, but none of those guys were really great running mates, and he really elevated that team and was spectacular that year. But, get into your House Corner questions, but I was just thinking about that earlier.
It was a first-time eligibility last year, and he didn't get it.
Okay, so he's got time.
He's got time. That sounds right, though. He's not a first ballot, so I'm riding there. We're good. All right, let's go here. So, of the states in the United States that border a body of water, rank your top 3 that you'd want a house on. We could do a specific city if you know the city or whatever, county, whatever you want.
I would do New York. I would do Florida, and I do California.
Carmelo or T-Mac?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I have to go T-Mac. It's very close.
Top 3 stores in the Palisades Center growing up.
Oh, wow. I'm going to try to think of like stores that'll be in a lot of malls. I guess, the classic GameStop as a kid, And sneaky Barnes & Noble, always fun. Barnes & Noble's
great CD collection. If you know, you know.
Yeah, CDs and like sports books.
Starbucks.
Guinness Book of World Records. We'll get more into it, but
good.
So I'd say GameStop, Barnes & Noble's, and man, I'm between 2 right now. I'll just say Hot Topic.
The last one is Dwight or Rudy.
Dwight or Rudy? You got to elaborate. I'm lost.
Like Dwight Howard or Rudy Gobert.
Oh, yeah. I was like, are we talking about The Office? We're talking about the movie Rudy from fucking Notre Dame. I was like, what is he talking about? I'll go Dwight Howard.
All right, let's get into the quizzes. So you can see the theme. The theme is that congratulations to Dwight Howard and Carmelo Anthony both being first ballot Hall of Famers. So we'll start with that quiz first. So obviously Carmelo and Dwight are both first ballot Hall of Famers. Okay.
Okay.
There have been 10 others since 2020 that have been first ballot. Besides those 2, 12 total. Name the other 10.
Can you tell me how long you have to be out of the NBA before you're eligible?
No, but I'll allow you to Google that because I have a joint in my hand and the other one.
All right, let me see.
Yeah.
I'm not looking up the answer.
I know you're not.
How many years out of NBA before eligible for Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Google's got that unlocked.
That should be just an AI.
Yeah, Google AI is going to pop that.
All right, retired for 4 full seasons. Okay. It's tough because I have to remember when people retired exactly. You also
have to think about who's on the Pantheon. Who would be
this doesn't include Carmelo and
Dwight. There's 12.
Yeah, so there's okay. All right. We were just talking about Dirk Nowitzki. That's close. I'm not sure. It might be earlier. Okay.
I'll give you the year. That'll be maybe how you clue in.
All right.
He was 2023.
Okay. All right. Kobe Bryant.
2020.
Okay. Tim Duncan.
2020.
Tony Parker.
2023. I didn't think you'd get him.
Steve Nash.
Steve Nash is in the Hall of Fame.
He wasn't first ballot.
He was first ballot as well. He was
oh, but he wasn't. He wasn't 2020. Okay. All right. So I have 4 so far.
Correct. You have Dirk,
Tony Parker, Kobe Bryant,
Kobe,
and Tim Duncan.
TD.
Yeah. All right. Man, 2016. Give me Kevin Garnett.
2020. What a class.
Give me Paul Pierce.
2021.
Give me Ray Allen.
Ray Allen is a Hall of Famer and a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is not since 2020.
He's 2019?
He is not 2019.
Okay. All right. Later. Oh.
Yeah, I can't tell you.
I mean, McGrady, we just talked about McGrady. That's a good guess. McGrady.
Tracy McGrady is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is not since 2020.
All right. Oh, man. I have 6 so far. All right. I got to think along these lines.
3 misses so far. It's not easy.
All right. Yeah, but every miss was
mad hard.
Yeah, every miss was still a first ballot Hall of Famer in the neighborhood.
Correct,
I'm not too mad at it.
Every miss has been since, so we'll call those half misses. So you're 1.5. That's fair.
All right, 2016. After that, you just had Carmelo. I don't know. Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade, 2023 with Tony Parker. And Dirk.
Okay, that's 7. Man. All right. I guess I'm just gonna guess all 3 of the Spurs. Manu Ginobili.
Yeah, 2022.
Let's go. All right, so I have 2 more.
Yeah, 2 more.
All right. I could do this without getting any non-first ballot guesses.
That would be wild. Yeah. One of the names is going to be tough, I believe.
I think this is right on the cusp. I think this is a good guess, but I could be fucking bugging. Amari Stoudemire?
Yeah, tripping balls is what you are doing.
Really?
Yeah, I don't even think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Really? I thought he would be there.
Yeah. I hallucinated.
Right. I'll do those. I'll take a hint for the last 2. I'll take a hint for the last 2.
One of them went to UNC.
Pau Gasol?
Yes, that's right.
Vince Carter.
Yeah, that's right.
Fuck. I should have asked for a guess.
You had it. The Amari is just
I had the Pau Gasol flew in my head. I was like dumb.
I don't know who the person is that zapped your head just now with that Amari. I don't know what happened there, but I thought you were going to clean this.
Just the retirement. Yeah, no, it was pretty good still. Amari Stoudemire.
Here we go. Okay. Both the 2025 guys are Dwight and Carmelo. Congrats. Yeah. Vince is 2024, the only guy. In 2023, there were Pau, Dirk, TP, and Dwayne Wade, sick class. 2022, there's only Manu, Paul Pierce, 2021. And then in 2020, the best class maybe ever, Kobe, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Ray Allen, Grant Hill, Jason Kidd, and Steve Nash is 2018.
Who's in 2019? Anybody?
Nobody.
I mean, Amari Stoudemire, 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year.
He won't be.
He'll be in the Hall of Fame.
He's borderline. All right, let's move on to the next quiz. You ready?
All right.
So, of those two Hall of Famers, I decided to lean into Dwight Howard a little bit. So,
okay.
Dwight Howard has won the Defensive Player of the Year at least 2 times in his career. He's won it 3 times. Mm-hmm. All right. There are 9 other guys that have won it at least twice.
All right.
Name those guys.
Ben Wallace.
That's 1.
Rudy Gobert.
That's 2.
Dennis Rodman.
That's 3.
I'm cooking. Dikembe Mutombo.
That's correct. That's 4.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's 5. Getting the low-hanging fruit ones out of the way, I see.
I mean, I'm halfway through the list.
Yeah, there's still 4 left, and they're tough.
I'm more than halfway through. I have a guess. I don't know though.
You got guesses to play with, I guess.
Nah, I'm gonna think a little harder first. There's some that are like, I just know so many one time that are shouting at me right now that I'm not sure. I gotta back up from the mic. I don't know why I keep thinking this.
So far, you have Ben Wallace, Dikembe, Dennis, and Hakeem, and Rudy.
Yep. All right, I gotta start guessing. I can't just sit here and not guess. Give me Marcus Camby. I know he's got one.
Incorrect.
Yeah, I know. I thought he just had one. Give me... God. My 80s are fucking... I can't think of anybody from the fucking 80s right now. Michael Cooper. I think he's got one.
Incorrect.
All right, I'll do one more guess before I get some hints because I'm kind of stuck here. More recently, I'm trying to think. Did Marc Gasol get that second one? I think he just got the one. I'm not gonna guess him. I'm not guessing him. Give me Charles Oakley. I don't know it. I don't have it anymore. Give me some hints.
All right. Like I said, the last four are tough. One plays in our era. I'll say that.
I need a better hint than that.
Like he's playing now.
He's playing now in the NBA.
Best player on his team when he plays.
Kawhi Leonard.
There you go. Yeah.
All right.
That's
David Robinson.
No.
All right. Give me another hint.
Another guy. He went to Georgetown.
Patrick Ewing. Really? Went to Georgetown? Not Patrick Ewing? Defensive Player of the Year? Twice?
Oh.
Give me the years.
He played for the Heat.
Alonzo Mourning?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good one. I should have got that.
Sorry, I was going. You said give me the year, so I went backwards on.
No, you're good. You're good.
Sorry about that.
You're fine.
I lost my list. Oh, there we go. We're back. All right. So you just did Alonzo Mourning there. Perfect. We did Kawhi. All right. This person. What can I give you as a hint?
College, pro team.
Played for the Bucks and the Hawks.
The Bucks and the Hawks?
Yeah.
For his whole career?
Yeah. Started in 1980.
Oh my God.
79 to 80, and then played until 91.
I don't know who that is. Bucks and the Hawks? He started with the Bucks?
Yeah, he played basically his whole career with the Bucks, besides one season with the Hawks. It was basically his Bucks. Just their Bucks.
Tree Rollins or something like that? Fucking something? I don't know. I don't know it. Go to the next one.
You want me to tell you who it is?
Let me think for a second, and then
okay.
Let me do the next one first.
Yeah, let me go back now. Computer doesn't like that I'm in. There we go. Perfect. This guy is a white guy. Older player as well.
Team?
The Jazz.
The Jazz?
Yeah.
White guy? Goodness gracious.
Older player. Played for the Jazz his entire career.
Greg Ostertag?
1993. He had a 20, I think he played, 10 years career.
Greg Ostertag?
No.
Not yes. John Stockton?
No. He's no.
He's a big man?
Yeah. Remember, we knew that because you made me to do the defensive player of the years, and none of them were. Oh, that was football. We were talking about corners. Never mind.
Sean Bradley? He was a Maverick. Fuck.
You'll know this name too when you hear it.
White guy?
Yeah.
God. For the fucking. I don't
Jazz
know.
His entire career.
White guy for the Jazz his entire career.
Yeah. He's 7'4".
And it's not Sean Bradley.
No.
I don't know who it is. Go ahead.
Mark Eaton.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know who that is.
Mark Eaton and Sidney Moncrief are the other two.
Oh, Sidney Moncrief. I wouldn't have got those. Yeah, those last two are hard.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The last four are kind of weird, actually. I thought the four that you would fuck up are Lonzo, Kawhi is a weird one, and Sidney and Mark. Those really were the four.
Alonzo, I should have had. I don't know why. I know he had a lot of
in the background for some reason because people forget his Hornets years where he had some great years there too before the Heat.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's a great player. But yeah, I'll just read the list: Sidney Moncrief, Mark Eaton, Hakeem, Dennis Rodman, Alonzo Mourning, Kawhi Leonard all have 2. Dwight Howard, shout out, has 3. And then Dikembe Mutombo, Ben Wallace, and Rudy Gobert have 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards.
It's pretty good, yeah. I felt pretty good after I listed the first 5 pretty quick, but then those ones are hard. I mean, I don't know who Mark Eaton is, to be honest.
I only know him because I had one of his cards when I was a kid, and one of my my books, those cardboard cards.
Yeah, I got to do some homework on the '90s Jazz, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's go through the other Hots Corner question.
Of the states that border a body of water, rank your top 3 that you'd want a house on.
Yeah, I think Miami, the Hamptons, and fucking San Diego, some shit like that. Be nice.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Austin, maybe. In Texas, maybe I was thinking that might be on my list. Or
I guess so. So what is that? Gulf of Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Like
probably not.
You like that?
Yeah, I'd prefer Florida, New York, and California.
Area, up in the Bay here, off the coast of the.
Well, it's still California, so.
It's California, so that's the state question. I should have did city. It would have been better. Anyway, Carmelo or T-Mac? Let's get to it.
Yeah, no, this was close. What was going through my head was T-Mac scoring the fucking 13 points in 31 seconds. That highlight.
And I think about Carmelo against the Bulls and having an outer body experience.
And then I think about Carmelo having 50 points with 0 assists. That's just the craziest thing that's ever happened in the NBA, maybe. You remember that? That was wild.
I remember it.
But then there's another game where
he's a chuck. I mean, I don't know.
He also had 50 points without a layup one game. It was all jump shots.
I feel like McGrady, if you watch McGrady on Orlando, bro was ridiculous.
He was more of a high flyer than Melo too. He was more fun to watch.
Jam it on you. Yeah. For sure.
When young T-Mac for sure it was almost different versions of T-Mac because you had the Raptors version originally, and then you had the Magic, which was the evolved form, and then you had the Rockets where he was a slow killer,
more 3-point shooter on the Rockets.
And pull up jumpers and turnarounds
every now and then with the jam and give you the look, but every now and then.
Yeah, no, similar almost to a more at least offensively better Paul Pierce, as similar game of evolution.
Yeah, when he was on Houston, for sure. More jump shooter, more back to basket, work it down.
Because when Pierce was young, he would go to the rim too and attack and get fouled a lot. He still would get fouled a lot, but then he adapted his game to slow down to his pace as he got older and heavier. Sure. And I think T-Mac was similar.
Unbelievably clutch shooter. It was ridiculous.
Just 2 dribble pull up. Yeah,
ridiculous putter every time with Paul Pierce. So fucking annoying. He was He was so good.
And both those guys are big too. And Carmelo, they're those 6'7" plus shooters. Yeah. Joe Johnson is another person you can put in that category.
Body, shooting guards,
big,
back down, break it
tall,
down.
Strong guys who create their own jump shots.
Straight up, crazy.
Yeah, multiple ways. They could back you down. They could pull up off the dribble, ISO.
I don't know.
Get to the rim.
So close with Carmelo. I'm going back now. Carmelo or T-Mac. Whose team went further? I assume the Denver team with Allen Iverson that went to the conference finals is the best between the two, right?
I don't know. I
think that's right.
There were some good Rockets teams. There were some good Raptors teams when they were young.
Rockets out first round most years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Even that series,
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know if that's a good indication of who was better.
No,
necessarily. I'm trying to think who's the best player besides Vince that McGrady played with when he was at least 21 years old. Vince was there. He was pretty young.
Yeah, he was nothing. He was raw when he played with Vince.
Yeah. He was probably like 16-6, but like flying around, like we said. But no, I mean, I think there's also a factor like I like T-Mac as a personality a little bit more. Not that I ever disliked Carmelo Anthony, but
no, I like both of them. It's close. It's very close. It's very close. All right, we'll keep it moving here. The other one, I might as well just go to it. The other one I had was Rudy versus Dwight.
Yeah, I think Dwight just a way more offensive threat than Rudy Gobert ever was. I think defensively they're comparable. You could even maybe give Rudy a little bit of a nod. Like you said, he's won that 4th Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. But I just think offensively, Dwight was a 20 points per game guy, I think, several years of his career, if I'm not mistaken, or at least high teens, sure. which I don't think Rudy has that in his bag.
And he took a team to the finals, basically as the best player, even though the team was good, and they had Hito and Rashard Lewis and whatever, Jameer Nelson. It was a nice squad, but that Magic.
No, he was definitely the catalyst.
He was the best player on that team. So, and I think he probably won Defensive Player of the Year that year they went. I was guessing.
And I remember him also like bringing up the ball. Like he could like have a little dribble to his game. Like he could pass a little bit. Just sure. I think compared to Rudy Gobert, he's just I feel like so much more offensively capable. But yeah, I'm right here like between
offensive players, really shitty.
2007 to 2008, he's 20.7, then 20.6, then 18.3.
They're just lobbing it up to him.
Yeah. 22.9, 20.6, but like it's not like he's any bigger than Rudy Gobert. Like Rudy Gobert's not catching lobs. There is like a skill to that. You know what I mean? It's not like anyone could just roll out of bed with height and do that. He's super athletic.
Rudy's got weights in his feet. He can't get off the ground.
Yeah, he could catch lobs like 2 feet above the rim, and bring it down. And while averaging, leading the league in rebounding 5 out of 6 years in his prime,
Personality-wise, I could take or leave either one of them, so I think that's a moot point. I really don't remember the Rudy's whole mocking thing during COVID when he touched all the microphones and thought it was all stupid, and then he was the one that came down with COVID, like that whole fucking thing, and then the whole world.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, that was wild.
It's like an infamous moment for this guy's career that he's attached to. It's hilarious.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then top 3 stores in the Palisades Center. I can't believe the third one you went with was Hot Topic. That's wild.
I was thinking like Hot Topic or like what is it, Zoomies, where they had like the whatchamacallit, beanbags in it. That was fun. You like going there. Absolutely. Did you ever like go in the Palisades Mall and like stop the escalators? Did you know how to do that? Where you like kick the bottom? You could like if you like kicked the bottom like right underneath where like the escalator thing like turns, if you will.
Yeah,
you kick underneath that and it would stop the escalator.
One thing
do that while people were on it and like run away.
Oh my god. One thing I've done in the Palisades Center is when I went to Felix Festa camp, I played Manhunt in the mall before all the stores were open. Like dumb early, our camp they took us to the mall because we were waiting for the ice skating rink to open, and then we like set up on opposite sides of the mall and played Manhunt, which was fun. I can remember that like memory, running up and down the escalators because they weren't even turned on. Everything was just off. It was mad, kind of eerie in there, but sick.
Yeah, was it sick?
Sick.
I was also thinking if like Dave and Buster's or like
Jeepers
when you were like, I don't know if those are like aren't stores though. Those are restaurants.
Buy things, you buy games.
Yeah, look at that as like a restaurant, or like that's why I didn't say Jeepers or like the arcade or whatever.
Cool, Jeepers. Wow, with the fucking roller coaster in the window.
Yeah, they had like it was like a little baby shit. Like it was like a baby ass Chuck E. Cheese. I retain like everything. I have like crazy retention.
Yeah, that was nuts. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was a big like birthday. Like I said, it was like a Chuck E. Cheese knockoff. You know?
You remember Sports World in Mawa?
Nah, I do remember Sports Collectibles in the mall. I used to go there and get jerseys and shit.
Yeah.
That actually might have been my favorite store.
Sports World was like they had like 2 basketball courts. They had like a jumping jumping up and down thing over here into a pit and whatever over here.
That was like batter up.
Yes, similar to that type of thing.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
In Valley Cottage, same kind of.
Premise. Yeah, like batting cages, arcade, like dodgeball, basketball courts.
Those were all the rave when we were kids. Like people would parents would like set that birthday party up there every time.
I would like have an adult birthday party there.
Yeah, seriously, I would have a birthday party in there right now.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah,
for sure. And then,
all right, you don't have any other questions?
And then shout out to Barnes and Nobles, dude.
Yeah, talk about Barnes and Nobles for a second here. I was about to change the music because I do want to get into some NBA playoffs, a little bit of preview. But talk to me about Barnes and Noble, bro. Where did that even like?
I would like always walk in through there and find myself like grabbing like a fantasy football preview book or like a Phil Steele college football preview book, and then like I said, fucking what was the Guinness Book of World Records? Like I'd always check that shit out, and then like you said, you could go listen to a fucking CD, you could go fucking and to Starbucks. It was just a very relaxing place. Like I think bookstores are cool.
Yeah.
I was actually Googling bookstores near me today.
It was a good place to kill time if you were like waiting for a movie to start and you needed to go do something like before, like because the movie theater was right down the block, like right down the thing right there, so you could just duck into Barnes and Noble and hang out in there, chill out in the Starbucks area, sit down, whatever.
Yeah, get it. I'm moving, so I want to get books to like fill out a bookshelf, so I have like a full bookshelf, even if I haven't read them all. Just like
we have too many
like
books.
A nice
you should
bookshelf.
Come to our house, bro. We literally have too many books. It's insane.
Maybe you can mail them to me. I'm not going to drive across the country.
Yeah, I'll bring a box. I'll bring a box when I come home. I'm coming home this weekend, actually. So I'll
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Sounds good. Maybe I'll try to get to New York then this weekend.
Christy's doing the whole dress shopping thing. It's very exciting. Very
exciting. Nice. That is very exciting. Blessings. Yeah, you want to talk NBA?
I do. I want to talk about the playoff seeding a little bit here. Jalen Brunson's actually playing right now. First game back in a couple weeks. So it's good to see, hopefully, that he's doing well. I don't know if they've started yet. Yeah, they started, and they're up by 10. It's halftime right now. Let's check it and see if he's playing. Brunson is playing. He played 15 minutes, 3 assists, 3 turnovers. Good to see. Love that. They are winning by 10, though. That's good. But, yeah, I want to get into the seeding a little bit. It seems like there's only about a couple games left in the regular season. Things are starting to take shape. Boston has already taken over the Eastern Conference, as we all expected. They broke the threes record for the season. Cleveland is going to obviously be the number 1 seed, but everything still runs through Boston, in my opinion. Even if it becomes Cleveland-Boston in a series and Cleveland gets Game 7 at home, it's Boston at the end of the day until I see otherwise. So, but I'll read you down the top 8 seeds right now in terms of what we're looking at. We won't focus on the play-ins maybe as much, or maybe just the top 6. But Cleveland, Boston, New York, Indiana, Milwaukee, and Detroit. Do you see Detroit upsetting like the Knicks, for example? Do you see Indiana getting upset by Milwaukee without Dame Lillard? Anything that seems fishy to you in the Eastern Conference? And then the 7-8 is Orlando, Atlanta, by the way.
I think Detroit is like not obviously not as good, but weirdly similar to the Rockets, where they're like not quite ready. Like they put together a good regular season, even more so than the Rockets in a sense that they've kind of become a benefactor of the East being down this year. Obviously, the Sixers are not a factor. The Magic have taken a step back. The Bulls continue to meander in that play-in type realm. And then the Heat, obviously, with kind of the Jimmy Butler, fiasco, have played their way out of that top 5 or 6 region. So it's almost just seems like a matter of happenstance that they wound up with the 6th seed. And I think, if the Knicks secure that 3, that should be a sweep or a gentleman's sweep maybe.
Yeah, I would expect it to be a gentleman's sweep, 5 games against Detroit. I think Cade Cunningham has the ability to lead them to a win in that series at some point, especially with Jalen still kind of getting his rhythm back. Could see a bad shooting affair. Knicks are always capable of fucking themselves
And just to riff real quick, I don't know if you saw JJ Redick talking about the most improved player, and like Cade Cunningham, I guess, is a big favorite. I haven't looked, but basically saying that the award is just for like lottery picks who were supposed to be good from day one, just like getting better, versus people actually like who were underdogs making improvements. Like I guess it was post him kind of about Austin Reeves, and he's like, well, it doesn't matter, he's not going to win it because that's not who they give the award to. Like basically calling out kind of the spirit of the awards, but it's kind of the same across the board. Is that the NBA awards are a little bit based in a sense of like most valuable player is actually best player on the best team, more so than it is. You almost have to be a 1 seed to win the MVP nowadays.
Yeah.
Like Jokic.
You can't be the most valuable of something that's not valuable.
Like, Jokic is the best basketball player in the world. I don't think anyone really would argue that. But SGA has played an MVP level season and is most likely going to win because he's on the best roster, or he's on the best team. They have the best record, and he's the best player on that team and dominant. I mean, I know you're shaking your head right now, but he's literally like minus 1,800 odds to win. Like, if you were to try to bet him right now on DraftKings.
They have 64 wins. That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're a dominant team. And Jokic has won 3 times already. And because of that, and they're not the number 1 team, they're going to give it to SGA.
They're the number 4 team.
Yeah, so it's going to be hard for Jokic.
It goes back to what we just said. Most valuable player. If you're going to be the most valuable, the thing that you're talking about has to be valuable. The valuable word works for everything. So,
but the point being is that if you take Jokic off the Nuggets, they might not even be a playoff team. You take SGA off the OKC, they probably still are a playoff team. But it doesn't really work like that. It's just like the best player on the best team.
But if they're an 8 seed, he's not playing with them, and they're a 1 seed with 64 wins if he is playing with them, then...
Yeah, no, I'm not saying SGA isn't valuable. I'm just saying he's not better than Jokic. You can't make that argument to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Jokic is out here getting 60-point triple-doubles, and they still lose the game.
Best center ever? Like, are we going here? Like,
we're getting there for sure. I think so. He's got to win more. He's got to win more.
Yeah, he's got to win. He's got to win another. Yeah, he needs like 4, I'd say. 4.
He needs at least 2 to get in the conversation, but he can get 2. He's got a lot of time left. So, the 3-6 on the other side, as of today, is the Lakers and the Timberwolves. So you have Ant Edwards and the Timberwolves coming off a year where they went all the way to the conference finals. Obviously shook stuff up, trading Cat away. Haven't had the, most pretty season, if you will, for lack of a better word. But I do think that they have a much better shot at beating the Lakers than a team like the Pistons does at beating the Knicks.
Yeah, I would agree for sure, 100%. Ant is you could argue, is the best player in the series still, the way Luka's been playing, and just like LeBron's age. And, it looked like he got hurt the other night a little bit too. So, I mean, obviously, it's hard to think that, in a 7-game series that LeBron and Luka on the same team are going to lose. That's just crazy to me. So, and Reeves has been balling. I don't know if you watched that game the other night, the back and forth game that they had, which was unbelievable. Like,
I know what you're talking about. Where against the Bulls,
against the Bulls, it was nuts, dude.
Yeah, where the creepy guy hit the half-court shot to win the game.
Kitty. Yeah. Absolutely insane, dude. But the threes that Reeves was taking and shit and keeping them in it, like, it's nuts. Like, Reeves has really become a player that I did not expect him to become. I guess everyone's been touting him as the third.
Well, that's what I'm saying with the JJ Redick comment. Do you think Austin Reeves is more improved than Cade Cunningham?
Yeah, for sure. Because Cade Cunningham was... Yeah, Cade Cunningham is the best player on his team.
He was the number 1 overall pick in the whole draft. Austin Reeves was like undrafted free agent, and now he's the 3rd best player, debatably, on a playoff team, a 3 seed. And he's balling. Like, Austin Reeves is balling. He's a player. He's not just a guy anymore that, like, a good story. He's not a Dellavedova, hustling to guard Curry. He's not. Legit. Yeah, he's not a Sasha Vujacic raining threes for the Lakers randomly. He's a dude. So I think Austin Reeves has a lot to be proud of. And, I think if he were to win most improved player, it'd be well-deserved. There's no shade at Cade Cunningham, but Cade Cunningham's a star. He was always going to be a star.
In the All-Star game, was he not?
I don't know if he was. I don't know if this is
All-Star team.
I think this was his first year in the All-Star team. So, like, maybe that shows most improved. Like, he was a non-All-Star, now an All-Star, whatever. But I think JJ Redick is obviously being his JJ Redick self and being grandiose, and I know more than you about basketball. Like, always, how he is.
An angle.
Yeah. Like, the always find, like, if I ran the league, well, it would be better because I know best kind of thing. Like, but that being said, when it comes to this point, like, I think he has a little bit of a leg to stand on where
it makes sense.
Like
you said, the Disparity award.
Yeah, exactly.
But that part, yeah. But I like, this Houston team. Just you mentioned them before. They're weird, and I would not want to play them. I don't know what the Jalen Green's capable of going for 40 any moment. Amen Thompson is sick, and
I love him
tomorrow. And Sanguine is fucking man. So it's just like,
I just don't think they're quite ready yet. But then again, I said that, I guess I didn't say that about the Timberwolves because I bet the Timberwolves to win it all last year. But, I mean, I don't know. It's weird that they're going to play potentially a really good Grizzlies team that just is falling apart right now at the seams. They were a 4 seed about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a little longer.
But to be clear, can I read some records from 4 to 8? 47-31, 46-31, 46-32, 46-32, 46-32.
Yeah.
So we say falling at the seams, but it's like a game, maybe a game and a half. That's the difference. It's something else why Bro got fired. There's no way it could have been record because it's so close, John, that obviously lost the locker room. There's a whole other thing here going on.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, in the group chat briefly about how this is the latest firing in a season I can remember happening, and this is a playoff team, or was at least a shoo-in to make the playoffs. A shoo-in, I think, still to make the play-in.
Yeah.
But for it to happen this late,
they'll be fighting for their lunch for sure. They might even end up. No, they're so far ahead. They're locked into the 8 seed.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be in the play-in. But the 8 seed is a play-in.
9 or 10, yeah. 8 games separated them.
You still got. I mean, you have 2 chances to get in though, because you get to play against the 7, and if you win that, you get in. And then if you lose, you get to play against the winner of the 9 and 10. They got a lot of shots to make the playoffs still. But that being said, this team, it was so late in the season for this all to transpire, and especially on a team that has a good shot at if this late in the season was a firing for a team that was at the bottom of the barrel, had no shot to make the playoffs, it would still be weird. Because of how late it was.
Why would you just not finish out the season?
Exactly. Right. So now just making the switch now is just insane. But at what point does we start calling into question Ja Morant's maturity or leadership of becoming, more of a professional? I'm not just talking about the gun shit because we hear about that all the time. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but just in general of being a steady guy who doesn't get too high or too low. He just seems still so emotional out there. He's getting older. He doesn't have the jump shot and finesse game that tends to a long career unless you can make some adjustments. So at what point do we see maturity or what comes first, maturity and progression, or the decline, the fall off the cliff, if you will?
He seems like I think the perfect person to compare him to is a John Wall. He has a ton of talent. He's incredible. You're always going to wonder if he could ever just get his jump shot together, get his mind right, get focused on the things that are important. Apparently right before the game that he did the gunshot whole thing and ended up getting fined for, apparently right before that game, the NBA talked to him and was yo, you have a history. You have a rap sheet. You were waving guns on IG Live. We don't want to see you being a person that celebrates like that. And he wants to grandstand and do all this shit because he thinks he's bigger than the team. And I think all that behavior is stuff that's obviously going to keep him in markets that will never win and keep him on teams that will never win. And he might have a successful stats-wise career. If you look at John Wall, I'm sure he has a lot of successful seasons on that Wizards team, but they never really won anything and they never really challenged anyone. They had a couple good years in the playoffs, but with Jameson and Karan, but in general, they were nothing. And that was
I think
careers, So
I think that's a solid comp. I think to that answer basically is the answer of you think that there's a fall off coming before an evolution.
Definitely a fall off for sure coming before that personality changes because it doesn't seem
before a finals appearance, if you will, or something like that.
He's interested in changing who he is. I think he thinks a lot about this is what got me here. My personality is what got me here. So why would I ever change? I ain't changing for nobody. People have this attitude, but that's actually not what got you there. What got you there was change because you learned how to become a better basketball player. If you were the same basketball player that you were in high school, you would not be in the NBA. So you're actually lying to yourself about even how and why you got there when these people talk like that. And they're like, oh, this is what got me here. It's my personality. I'll never change. I'm this guy, and I'll always be this guy, and that's who I am. Like,
I think to where
that's gotta end. That's gotta end somewhere.
To your point, what got you here isn't what's going to get you there all the time.
Also, yeah, and what got you here exactly is going to be something completely different than that.
There's something to get here is one thing. To get there, which means like a championship, a finals appearance, are two different things. You're going to have to elevate your game at some point. And so, real quick, I'll have you lead off. You got the Pacers and the Bucks, and then I want to talk about that other 4-5 matchup that's looking, just as they say in fucking Liverpool, just positively scrumptious in the Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors. So, I'll let you start with the Pacers and the Bucks, or you could start with the Nuggets and the Warriors. I don't care.
No Dame. Pacers are. Giannis is the guy that we need to really talk about for a second. That it's like. It's going to be one of these careers that we're never going to pay attention to. We're never going to watch. He's never going to get any awards besides the early awards that he got. Like it's like he's already had his day and his time in the sun.
I was going to say he's won the championship. He's a Finals MVP.
He got his MVP, and now it's done. And now it's like Jokic's league with Ant and Jay Tatum and Luka and the Lakers now. And when LeBron retires and like whatever the fuck. But this guy having 20 assists in a fucking basketball game in terms of the way he plays basketball is nuts. That triple-double that he had the other night is fucking wild behavior, and it needs to be spoken about more. I kind of fell into the background with some of these other great games that have been happening with Steph hitting 12 threes again and what Jokic has been doing, which is ridiculous shit. But I mean, this guy having 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 20 assists in a basketball game, I mean, this is just, it's insane numbers. He's 3 straight games with triple doubles. He's doing it all. He's trying to step into the role of what Dame was kind of filtering, which is that extra, guy that can help them move the ball. His team has no chance to win anything if it's not going through Giannis, and he's willing them through 2 games. And I don't know. I mean, I love the take that like Giannis has somehow become underrated in today's NBA. It's crazy, unbelievable. Because you're right. He's 30. Ridiculous. He's gone over 30 points and 11 rebounds a game for the past 3 seasons. Consecutively pushing 12 a game. Yeah. In the 5 to 6 assists per game range. Yeah. 30, 11, and 5 or 6. While he's averaging 30 points a game this year, bro. 30.5.
That's what I'm saying. The last three seasons, he's 30 and 11.
I see it. Yeah. It's crazy. And shooting over 55% from the field doing it.
So he is a player who's 30 years old, if I'm not mistaken. 30 years old, 9-time All-Star, NBA champion, 8-time All-NBA, All-Rookie, 5-time All-Defensive, Most Improved, 2-time MVP, 1-time Defensive Player of the Year.
He'll get another.
1-time Finals MVP. Just absolutely insane.
He still has probably at least 6 to 7 good years left, at least.
Yeah. Good years. So the fact that he's
going to learn how to keep doing it and making it easy on himself because he's a smart guy. He seems very intelligent, very geared into the moment, and his interviews are always great and classic the way he talks and shit. He's a very funny guy, actually, and clever guy. So I'm a big fan of Giannis. I hope he's a Knick one day. I know there's always been rumblings talking about that, I believe, and I've heard about that, but you talk about that with every fucking player with the Knicks. It's the most painful shit ever. But shouts to Giannis. I think the Bucks will have a chance in this series, but I just think the team-wise, unless guys like Kuzma and Lopez play above their heads a little bit, I don't know if they can beat Indiana in 7 games without the home court.
Yeah, and shout out to the Pacers. Obviously, last year made a good run. Taking out your Knicks. They seem to show that this team is here to stay a little bit. The coaching is good. Yeah. Halliburton, Mathurin, Miles Turner. They've kind of kept the core together. They didn't really add much. They just got better. Nembhard still balling. Really kind of just running it back. And
Obi's starting now. Obi's been really taking a step as a player.
Yeah, Toppin. And obviously Siakam is still a beast. So.
Yeah.
They got a good squad.
Yeah, deep as fuck.
Yeah, so, and now on to the other side, man. Nuggets and the Warriors in that 4-5 matchup. If the season ended today, obviously since the Jimmy Butler acquisition, the Warriors have been maybe the hottest team in the NBA, right up there with the Thunder and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mm-hmm. So they've definitely been riding high. Do you think that translates to the playoffs, or do you think when the playoffs roll around, there's just some bigger dragons to slay?
No, I've been watching a bunch of their games, and I've pretty much been watching like the 9-minute recaps every single night of their games on YouTube, and they're like it starts with Jimmy and Draymond getting along, I think, is the first thing that I really have noticed. It's like those two guys were the question mark as to the personality fit and like whether or not those guys were gonna like the way they both like to overpass and like the way they like to play offense, but it's like it couldn't be working better. I don't really like Kuminga in just as a scorer. I'm not really a fan of his game. I like Podziemski a lot. He's really taken a step as a 3-point shooter and another guy that they can rely on off the bench. But as a full roster, like they're going to have a problem finding a way to start Jokic and Jokic getting wherever he wants on the court. This guy Quentin Post, or I don't know if he's Quentin or I forget his first name, but he's a rookie. He's their 7-footer who shoots threes. He's a nice player. I think he can be a body they throw at Jokic. They'll throw Draymond at Jokic. Maybe even see Jimmy on Jokic in some scenarios or whatever the fuck, and some weird, whatever. But I think that the Warriors, if Steph is playing the way he's playing right now and scores the way he scores right now, I mean, yeah, they're going to win because MPJ has just been terrible this year, in my opinion. Like in terms of that third option, and why this team is not dominant is because they paid him max money and he's not a max player, and that contract is dog shit, and they need to trade him immediately and get more variety around Jokic, not wasting this guy's time with some of these guys that I don't know. I just don't feel like they've earned their money in terms of where they've gone with that championship and the guys that got paid and the guys they let go.
I think one of your oldest takes might be coming to fruition, which is like Westbrook. You can't win with them.
Yeah, another guy. It's like patchwork.
I think that he is trying to find a way to like play a smaller role and still kind of finds a way to get in the way sometimes. In the playoffs, maybe he could step up and bring some of that old Westbrook and be electrifying. But I just think, like you said, maybe they just tried to fill too many holes, or like, when you win a championship, it's hard to keep a roster together. They lost some, guys like the Bruce Browns of the world who stepped up in huge moments and kind of like trying to, like you said, patchwork that back together. And
the contract that they gave Porter Jr., like, that's two players. That's two good players in the NBA for that money.
Yeah, but also at the same time, it's like who
are the two players?
How much is he making more than, like, not that I'm saying he's better or worse than, but like OG Anunoby, like there's no, like, you kind of need someone in that ilk, like, to be a playoff contender. Like, yeah. It's less on like paying him the money from the organization standpoint, that it's on him as a player to play better. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, he has the potential to fill out that contract. Like they won a championship with him. Like he's
just like one of these guys that shoots at the top of his form, like one of these jump shot kind of guys. I
think he's the guy. I just think that like he needs. I think that as an organization, I don't necessarily agree it was a misstep. I think it's more of like he just needs to play better. Like sometimes it's the Jimmys and the Joes, showing up and doing their job. And, we know that the Nuggets can't get there. And another guy, I think, who's on that same kind of, like, situation, if you will, of not performing to their ability, I think Jamal Murray's kind of taking a step back.
Yeah, for sure.
He's not the guy that is that true number 2 to Jokic that we all thought he was, or becoming at least, if not already there.
Right.
Where now when I watch him play, I just kind of feel like he's a bit of a chucker. He's not creating good shots, or his shot selection has gotten worse. It does feel like kind of a one-man show where this Jokic spectacular display that we're seeing might be reminiscent of old Westbrook, where like maybe not enough guys are touching the ball, they're getting disengaged, and they're getting, maybe that take comes back and circles its way all the way back to Jokic
I'm so glad we've done this podcast for so long that the things that are on wax that we've spoken about at length, which is that when you don't allow other guys to rebound the basketball and touch the ball, and you're the guy that grabs it, and then you're the guy that takes it all the way down the court, and then you're the guy that dunks it on the other team. Like, yeah, that was a great play. Fucking unbelievable. You're going to go to the Hall of Fame if you do that a bunch. But you'll win nothing.
Well, they already won, to be fair to Jokic, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, he played as a team when they won, and Jokic wasn't really the usage.
I don't know. Jokic was fucking dominant. I don't know about that. But my
Jamal was way more geared in. He was hitting game-winning shots for them and shit, like crazy amounts.
Yeah, I think I was just saying how he looked more. He was playing better then too, though. I don't know. It is a situation that
nagging him. You think?
I just think that it's more that like. There is something to be said maybe for like the usage rate or the triple-double stuff. If we look into all the people who average a triple-double, like what were the standings of their teams, I don't think it's fair to say win a championship because I hate the take of not winning a championship is like an indicator of a non-successful season.
When we spoke about this, Westbrook, his team was finishing 8th or 9th, whatever the fuck, like 10th, averaging a triple-double. It's
I said, not a top 3 seed, and when you average a triple-double, what are the numbers on that? Something like that. Even with Oscar Robertson back in the day. But I'd be interested to know. But I think maybe Jokic is getting a little more usage now. Maybe he's starting to fall out of love with it a little bit, getting more fame and stardom. So, I don't know. I think that's going to be a great series. I think the Warriors are sneaky. I really do. But I also think
there it's the Denver, right? Denver's home.
Yeah, Denver's the 4, and the Warriors are the 5. If the season ended today,
it's huge. That's is it close enough to change? Because that's a massive swing there.
I just had like the bracket up. I didn't have the actual stats.
I'm looking it up now.
But yeah, I mean
30, 47, and 31. Good swing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean
46 and 31 and 47 and 31. Excuse me, half a game. I read.
Yeah, we're getting into hockey and NBA playoffs at the same time season. Gotta love that. National championship tomorrow night. Got a lot to look forward to. And baseball is very
national
young.
Championship. Put it down on wax right now.
I like Florida. I think Florida. Like I said, especially if you get good odds. I think I was looking at today, they were minus 105 or plus 1 if you want to take the money line. So I think you just take the minus 105, obviously, and let it ride. Who wants to push?
Take that in the over. What's the over-under?
I don't know. Houston is fucking good defensively.
That's why I feel like over-under is going to be lower for some reason.
Yeah. I like unders in the college basketball tournament usually, but I like Florida. I like best bet.
41.5. That's 70 each.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know.
John does not. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying they just played Duke and it was 70 to 67.
67, right?
Yeah. So it's just like I said, it's tough. Like I said, if I'm making a best bet for the national championship game, it's Florida.
I'm gonna say the over. Florida won 79 to 73 in their game. I'm gonna say the over.
Yeah, but they weren't playing against Houston. They were playing against Auburn.
That's okay.
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But
we'll be back next week. I'll be home in New York, so maybe recording on Monday, possibly next week. Whatever's clever. I'll try to make it out there. We'll see what's good. I have to be there. I got shit going on, so I might not be able to, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll talk. But Hots Head, Sixers, Dreamers, it's always a pleasure. Keep it locked.
Peace.
We'll be back next week.
Peace out, Casey.
Peace. Hi, Casey.